It's easy to see why Henry Cavill is adored by so many women and admired by so many men. He's handsome, witty, successful, in great shape, rich, bastard. But there's something else that sets this British actor apart. Henry is a gentleman. I believe that Henry is a great role model for a young man today because he presents a very healthy version of masculinity that combines both modern and traditional values. So in this video, we're going to look at 6 reasons why Henry Cavill is a gentleman. And most importantly, we're going to talk about how you could implement these characteristics into your life. So let's begin by talking about Cavill's incredible chivalry. A clip recently went viral in which director Guy Ritchie shared one incredibly gentlemanly trait about Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill stands up whenever a lady walks into a room. And he's been consistent with that all the way through. I made 2 movies with him, and I'm in a room with him all the time when I'm making those movies. And you have never failed to stand up when a lady walks in the room.
Standing up when a woman walks into a room is such an incredibly rare act of chivalry these days. It's very traditional, but to Cavill, it's just second nature. Of course, this is not the only form of chivalry he shows. There are many other clips out there showing him helping women off stage, pulling their chair out for them, and helping them in and out of cars. In an age when chivalry is considered by many to be dead, it's no surprise that this behavior from Cavill makes women swoon. But it's incredibly easy to become this kind of man yourself. Perhaps you begin by holding doors open, walking on the roadside of the sidewalk, or helping her carry something heavy. The women in your life, whether it's your girlfriend or your grandma, are going to take notice and be incredibly appreciative. Similar to his chivalry, the way Henry speaks and holds himself is also incredibly gentlemanly. He said in an interview with Square Mile that he has a personal gentleman's code, and part of that code is proper use of the English language. Henry speaks with the correct use of grammar and avoids profanity and slang. He has what we would consider to be an RP accent, or received pronunciation, which contributes to this sophisticated image and ensures that he can be understood by everyone. He always maintains a calm and collected demeanor, whether facing a crowd of hundreds of screaming fans or being accosted by the paparazzi. Even when the media tries to get a rise out of him, he maintains his decorum. Most of us will never have to deal with the same level of public pressure that Cavill does. But next time you do find yourself under the spotlight or being tested, take a leaf out of his book and remain calm and well-mannered, even if others around you are anything but. Another thing I love about Henry Cavill is that he sets his boundaries. Despite being a sex icon, he is largely opposed to sex scenes in movies and hasn't performed one since the early days of his career.
I think there are circumstances where a sex scene actually is beneficial to a movie, and rather than just the audience. And
I hope so.
It's
I agree.
That's the thing. Sort of, I think sometimes they're overused these days.
Right.
And it's when you have a sense that you're going, is this really necessary, or is it people just with less clothing on?
Right.
And that's where you start to get more uncomfortable, and you're thinking, there's not a performance here.
Rather than capitalizing on his sex appeal, Cavill is instead dedicated to the profession of acting. He cares more about providing the audience with a meaningful experience than cheap thrills. Cavill also has his own beliefs about his work, and he's prepared to walk away from huge deals if these beliefs are compromised. For example, he turned down what would have been a huge sum of money to continue in The Witcher because he felt like the series was straying too far from the source material. Like Cavill, think about the personal and professional boundaries that you have. What are those values that you refuse to compromise on? And how will you ensure that you stand your ground when you're put under pressure? Despite the millions of women around the world who wish to tear his clothes off, Cavill remains incredibly modest and honestly seems a little uncomfortable with the levels of admiration that he receives. In his speeches, he always expresses his gratitude to his family and others who have made his success possible. He loves to talk about his dog, Cal, and has been open about his struggles with mental health issues. Cavill is also open about his less stereotypically attractive and less stereotypically masculine love of Warhammer and gaming. Although these are hobbies that others might try and hide for fear of being cringe, Henry's passion and openness are what makes him so endearing. Simply, he does not hide himself, he's accepted what he likes, and he's not afraid to share his passions. So whatever you're into, embrace it wholeheartedly. In fact, it's endearing to women when they watch you geek out and get excited by something. What Cavill proves is that it's more important to have hobbies and passions that you are genuinely excited about and express that, rather than worry about being into the right kind of things. Henry has repeatedly used his platform to raise awareness and funds for good causes. He is an ambassador for the Royal Marines charity and a spokesman for the Durrell Wildlife Conservation Trust. In 2023, he donated $1 million to victims of the earthquake in Turkey, providing food, shelter, and pet food. Not only does Cavill give money, but he gives his time and leads from the front, taking part in the Gibraltar Rock Run in 2014. So if you want to be more like Cavill, you don't need millions of dollars to donate. You can give your time to important causes, or lead small fundraising efforts in your community. Cavill's charity work shows that his heart is in the right place, and he hasn't forgotten to keep giving and serving despite his success. So far we've spoken about Cavill's chivalry, his kindness, politeness, and even his soft side, but all of this would be less special and attractive if it weren't balanced by his incredibly masculine energy and impressive physique. Of course, one of the first things that you notice about Cavill is his physical presence. He's nothing like a bodybuilder, nothing over the top, but he has the kind of physique that can make any woman feel safe. After all, he is Superman. But being in shape like this also says something about his character. To look like this, you need to be incredibly disciplined. You need to experience pain, suffering, and resist temptation. Cavill has undergone some big transformations for movie roles, but whether he's bulking up or slimming down, he does this by maintaining a strict diet, laying off the booze, and following a strict exercise regimen. Cavill is one of those guys who eats pretty much the same thing every day, and that's how he's able to stick to that diet. If you want to follow the exact same diet as Henry Cavill, I'll put a link in the description to a GQ article in which he talks through exactly what he eats every day, although I do warn you it's not exactly a Michelin star. Beyond his weight training, Cavill also loves jiu-jitsu. He said, "Jiu-jitsu has a way of kicking your ass and making you love it for the lessons you learned." Beneath all his politeness, manners, and decency, Cavill has the capability to be dangerous, and he knows how to push himself through hard times and chisel his character as well as his body with these physical pursuits. It's this balance of manliness and gentleness that really makes Henry Cavill a gentleman. In a world of hyper-feminized men on one end and toxic meatheads on the other, Cavill presents a healthy version of masculinity that's both attractive to women and serves as a great role model to men. At face value, it would be easy to lump Cavill in with the other handsome, successful actors in Hollywood. But you don't have to peel back many layers before you realize that this is a man of so much more substance. He is a gentleman, he is intelligent and sophisticated, he's positive and modest, but also incredibly capable and successful. I want to hear from you in the comments. What is your impression of Henry Cavill? Would you agree that he is a fine example of a gentleman and a great role model for a young man today? What characteristic or trait about Cavill do you most admire? When creating this video, many things about this man reminded me of men from the past. So if you are seeking further inspiration, I highly encourage you to check out the video I previously made about 5 classic role models, including Cary Grant and Ralph Lauren. And of course, if you have a role model whom you would like to see a video about, let me know who they are in the comments. Thank you for watching today's video, and I will see you in tomorrow's one.